anything is possible. I welcome you to this insightful program, Ability Index Ability. I'm Angela Ekre. I have a special teacher, Mr. Duke Titus. Welcome to this program.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Duke Titus is a special teacher at Madonna School for Children with Special Need, Okmanan. Today we're going to discuss about learning disability. Look at the name, learning disability. Sir, what is learning disability?
Learning disability, as we simply put, is reduced intellectual ability. It is a situation whereby some people have significant amount of difficulty in acquiring and using the skills in listening, in learning, in writing, as also in calculation, in mathematics. So when somebody is able to exhibit a significant amount of difficulty in trying to exhibit these skills, that person is said to be having learning disability.
Wow. So if I am not able to do something, like I want to apply knowledge, I'm not able to do it.
Yeah, what people do normally.
That means that I have learning disability.
Yes, like what people do normally, like writing skills. Now.
Okay.
It's a normal thing to remember something and write it down.
Okay.
It's normal, but some people don't have that skill.
They don't have the skill.
So when they have that kind of problem or difficulty in trying to exhibit that skill, you see they have learning disability. It can also come in terms of processing information. It can also come in terms of calculation, numbers.
Okay.
Some people cannot process numbers. It's very difficult for them. So in that area, you say that person is having learning disability.
Yeah. Wow. What are the types of learning disability?
Learning disabilities are many, but I will just mention a few here. The one I have here, auditory processing disorder, APD. When the person, this one you can find it also in people that are having hearing impairment.
Okay.
Yeah, they are not able to process information. They hear, but they cannot process properly. And then you have to repeat what you see over and over before they can even understand what you're trying to say. We have dyscalculia. This one is where the people have problem with calculation. Mathematics, these ones can't handle mathematics. They can't handle numbers. It's very difficult for them. We have dyslexia. Dyslexia is inability to write, inability to read or spell. When someone has that kind of problem, you see he's having dyslexia. We also have non-verbal learning disability. This one is a situation where somebody is not able to understand concepts. The person is not able to organize information properly. So when somebody says with that kind of skill, say the person is having a non-verbal learning disability. There are so many of them. I just want to show just a few, so we can understand what learning disability is talking about.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these are the types of learning disability.
Yeah.
Okay, we have different types of learning disability now. How can they cater for a child with learning disability?
Yeah, like I always say, each time I come, especially when we are dealing with people generally with disabilities, learning disability, we have other form of disability. Now, the first thing is to identify and to assess the situation. So I always believe that the first thing we do is assessment. You have discovered that this person is having problem with, trying to cope in the class. So what do? We bring the person for assessment. After the assessment, then
now, so you said, people are watching us. I really wanted to explain. You said, how can you assess the person?
We are trained. Like
Okay.
I'm a trained assessor. I'm trained to assess people. There are certain questions we ask.
Okay.
There are certain things we look out for when we are looking at people who are having some form of disability. So the person has to come, because when you are dealing with people like that, you don't deal with them alone. You have to come with people that live with them, their caregivers, their parents, or their teachers. Somebody who knows the person has to come. So we ask some questions and we go through some tests. I'm a teacher, so I'm not talking about medical tests. I'm talking about written tests. You know, there are certain questions and answers processes we have to take, and then from there we'll be able to find out. And certain questions we have to, and then we also do observation. All these come together to form what we call the assessment process. When we are done with the assessment, and then we go straight to the placement. Placement is, okay, what kind of service can we offer such a person with this kind of trouble? And then we now prepare IEP. You know, I remember I said this before in one of these programs, that we have what we call the individualized educational plan. It's very important for any person that has disability, because this person is having a peculiar issue. So that is hindering the learning process. So for the person to be able to benefit from the learning process, the person has to have a particular program that's you know, tailored towards that person's learning process. And then that is where IEP comes in. We will now prepare an individualized educational plan, and then we begin to apply. And it's very important also for the people with learning disability to be in an inclusive environment where they can learn along with others. And there are certain processes we take in order to handle people with learning disabilities. If the person, they are having problem with speech, they are having problem with auditory, you have to start using visual aids, visual support, the use of communication system and others. And then those who have problem with processing information, you have to speak, you know, precisely what you want to say in short forms and clear and slowly, so that we understand. So there are a lot of processes we take, but these few ones I just mentioned, 4. The first one, identifying and assessment. The second one is placement. And then the third one, I talk about preparing an IEP. And then you send the child to the learning environment. And also, we can also, you know, go into the use of therapists. You know, it's very, very important. There are some cases where the people may need therapists to work with them. Their program is wide and need a lot of people to come around.
All right. You mentioned inclusive environment. What do you mean by inclusive environment?
What I mean by inclusive environment is it's an environment where people with or without disabilities are given opportunities to learn in the same learning environment, but their peculiar needs are taken care of. You know, I want to correct this notion. People think that inclusion is just bring people together and then start teaching them together. No. Inclusion is far beyond that. Inclusion is when these people come into this learning environment, they are not segregated. When you separate them, they learn on their own. And then what if they come in to meet other people? Because they will integrate. People must integrate. People must come together. They must unite. They must work together and communicate with each other. Now, if I learn in my own separate environment, and the child with hearing impairment learn with in his own separate environment, when we meet for certain things, how do we communicate? So that is why inclusion is very, very important. Now, when they are there, they are given peculiar attention. Each child has his peculiar attention, and that is where IEP comes in. Because you individualize the child's plan, you temper with the curriculum, or you temper with the scheme of work. Okay. Curriculum is big, so that we need a lot of personnel to work with. But when it comes to scheme of work, as a teacher, you temper with it in order to favor that particular person that is not benefit for that learning process. Say, for example, use your visual aids. People who have learning disabilities in terms of hearing, you need a lot of visual aids to work with them. So you can break down the curriculum beyond what has been broken down. Sorry, the scheme of work beyond what has been broken down, so as that person will benefit, because the person is having a difficulty. The same thing in dyscalculia. The person who has problem with mathematics. If you follow the normal mathematical process, that person is off. But now you have to break down gradually, so that the person may not be in the same pace with others, but the person is learning according to his own pace, and the same thing is learning, but the pace is different.
In the
process
same classroom.
is different. Yes.
Good.
In the same classroom.
Wow.
And sometimes you can go to referral services in inclusion. You do referral services. So if the person is in class 3 and he has problem with calculation, you can also organize a separate calculation class for that person, so that the person can always be coming back to meet up with class 3 work. Thank you very much.
Let's go for a short break. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. This is still Ability in Disability. I'm with Mr. Duke Titus, a spiritual teacher. We're discussing about learning disability. So, what are the various ways to promote learning disability awareness?
Okay.
Apart from what we are doing, I know that you are going to mention what we are doing now. No.
Yes. That's coming on air to talk about learning disability and talk about it. Another way we can go ahead to create awareness for people for learning disability is also by trying as much as we can to go on social media and then to educate people on and on. We can do campaigns. Print, flyers. And then you can also do one-on-one. You can do one-on-one discussion with people so that because there are so many of them. There are people that are normal. You will see them, there is no form of disability in their body, but they have learning disabilities. So when symptoms are discovered, sometimes you brand them as Olodo in the class.
Block it.
and then the person is suffering quietly. So we speak with teachers too. But I know they learn this in school. Teachers learn this in school as part of because part of disabilities are part of what they learn in school. But we can as well as promote it by talking about it on and on from time to time. Then we can also organize workshops and seminars where people can be educated more, give more explanation on the importance of discovering people with learning disabilities and helping them out, because they only have an issue. They don't have plenty of issues that are disturbing them. We should remove that so that they can learn.
Wow, they only have an issue if they are discovered.
Yeah.
So they're able to handle the situation. Mr. Duke, what is the purpose of this awareness creation?
Yeah, the purpose of awareness creation is number one, like I always say, inclusion. Somebody made a statement one day in the social media. I just read it. The person said, we keep training children with learning disabilities or hearing impairment or a form of disability or another in order to cope with others in the society. Then how about people who are normal? Do we ever teach them or train them on how to cope with people with learning disabilities? Have we ever taught them? You see the disparity, what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say there is that we are letting everybody know that there's an issue like this. We should understand. That's one reason for the awareness. Whether you have a disability or you don't have, you should know there's an issue. And somebody somewhere who may be closer to you, related to you, may have that issue. You should understand. That's the first thing. Secondly, we should provide solutions. Look for how we can help the person better. Because it's not just the classroom that the problem starts and ends. When the person has finished from the class and the person goes home, you'll be given homework and assignment to do. Can people who are helping him or her at home with the assignment be able to understand and also cope? So that is the essence for the awareness. So that everybody around, parents, caregivers, guidance, everybody, we understand that it's an issue that have to be handled, especially when we are dealing with people with learning disability, so that they can be helped to balance with us, one, and two, to be able to integrate properly into the society, and then finally to make their own contribution, because everybody has a contribution to make, everybody to give. That's the essence for the awareness.
Someone that has a learning disability now, can the person further his or her education to
Why?
higher institution?
I mentioned learning disability. I said there are people, for example, na calculia. The person may have dyscalculia, sorry. The person may have no problem in other things.
Okay.
May be good in history, may be good in government and other subjects. But when it comes, may even be good in English. But comes to calculation, the person will have problem. So all we have to do is to find means, because the person must have at least a credit in maths in order to further education. Am I right? Now, we have to assist the person, whichever way we can, temper with the curriculum or temper with the scheme of work, so that the person can come up, the person can reach a level where he or she can get his credit and move further. And not just getting the credit, but getting attuned with maths, understanding numbers and mathematics, and the person will move on. So they can further.
They can further.
They can further.
Okay.
There are some severe issues, I
Issues,
know. Those ones are peculiar issues. We deal with them, talk with them. We can talk about that later. But right now, I know that a lot of people with learning disabilities can go to school, can go to universities, can further education.
Yeah, they can further their education. So don't neglect them. Go to someone. Look for someone that can handle them. Look for a school. Don't just put them in any school you see. No, they say this school. No, you look for a special school to put your child with learning disability. After the assessment, you place it where you belong, and you'll be able to what? Bring the best out of him. This phrase, do you see me? What does it mean? The week of learning disability now started. So what does it mean? Do you see me? Are they not seeing them?
No, that is the theme for these years. I'm sure those who created this theme have now come to discover that seeing is different from acknowledging. I may see you pass by, but I not acknowledge your presence. Okay. So I think that is what they are trying to say. Do you see me? It simply means that not just seeing, but recognizing people that are having learning disabilities.
In other words, do you see me?
Yes.
And you know the challenge I have.
Yes. Do you know what I'm going through?
I'm going through.
Can you feel me?
Can you feel me? Can you accommodate me?
Thank you.
Wow.
That is where do you see me comes in. Right. Can you really, if I'm around, do you acknowledge my being present? By being present, do you acknowledge my presence? All those kind of things. And then not just hearing them, not just seeing them, but we hear them and we value them. All this we have just said is coming from that topic. So we are calling on us to give them more attention. That is what do you see me mean for this year's topic. Give them more attention. In the classroom, give them attention. There are many of them. I always discover one thing. These people, some people that we call Olodo in those days, will not be able to calculate well in the class. They won't do well in the class. But send them to a mechanic shop. They are very good. What happened? Does it mean that person, are you not saying that the person can actually do something? Yes. So it means we didn't actually see the person well. That is why we tell the person.
Yes. We are seeing one aspect and again another aspect. The other aspect is important.
Yes.
Wow.
So we change. Somebody once told me that the child is not for the method, but the method is for the child. In education. So if you could look at this very well, you don't just create a method and add the child to follow. You create a method that suits the child. That is where this you see me comes in. Create a method that suits the child. Look at the child very well. See the disability, see the problem, and then start looking for ways to help the child, gain from the knowledge that you want to give. Very, very important.
Wow, very important. So how do you want society not to see those living with learning disability?
To value them.
To value them.
Yes.
Value them what aspect? Is in education, offices?
Yeah, they can go to school.
Okay.
They can go to school. I give an example of that man or that boy that is seen as a load in the class and later becomes a very good mechanic, and the same us that finish university with our master degree and PhD still go back to that same person to repair our car. That person that could not do much in the class. And engineering, my mechanic work is as good as engineering. It's engineering work as well. Understand that? So, what if that person was discovered early? What the person was seen on time, and that person was now guided towards becoming studying engineering,
Okay.
and then you add that with the practical work that the person has, the person can now value engineering work in a better way. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
What if the person would have gone, beyond that? So that is where do you see me for me comes in, like the question you just asked now. How do we value them? That is where we can value them.
Okay.
We value them more by understanding their problem. Being putting ourselves in their shoe, feel how they feel, and then start looking for how to make learning better for them.
Wow.
That's what we do.
Make learning better for them. It's not only learning now, like what you pointed out, some of that a mechanic workshop here to make life better
For them.
Wow. Mr. Joe, what are parting words?
Okay. My parting word will come from the last statement you made. It's not just learning, but also other things. Skill acquisition is part of learning.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, education is not just writing and reading. It's one mistake most of us make. Education is the total formation of a person. When you form the person generally, that's what education is talking about. So, in trying to help the children with their disabilities, we do as much as we can to remember that it's not just the writing and reading skills that we base our training on. We can explore other means, like that man that goes to do mechanic now. It's part of the processing. We can expand our tentacles, look for where and things we can do in order to assist that child to be able to realize his or her potentials and then make good use of it.
Wow, make good use of it. Look at my 5 fingers, they are not equal. They cannot go to school, they can acquire skill. All this we are going to stop today. Thank you for enlightening us today. God bless you, sir. I remain Angela Ikoresi, Monday next.